Later, on the Ush bus, everyone asks who the strongest in their class is. Tsuyu says Todoroki and Midoriya are probably the strongest ones. As they go outside and 13 tells them about her speech, in the center plaza a bunch of villains teleport there, and Aizawa informs his students that there aren't villains. The students tried to exit. Kurogiri would appear and teleport everyone around the building. Deku would be transported to the water area and would transform into Ripjaws named Ripzillo and take out the villains, Tsuyu. Seeing this, she'll bring Shiozaki into a boat. The three would make onto the land and see Aizawa fighting the Nomu. Midoriya sees Tsuyu about to grab by Shigaraki, and Midoriya turns into Big Chill and blasts sound waves at Shigaraki's ears. Shigaraki shouts out Nomu kill the brat. Midoriya starts making clones and begins using his sound blast at the Nomu. The Nomu tries to punch Midoriya but gets punched by All Might with a serious face. All Might tells Midoriya to go with the others. Midoriya says, "I can help, All Might." "Then go help your classmates," said All Might. Midoriya would nod, carrying Aizawa and bring him to the others. All Might starts steaming after he punches the Nomu. All Might calls out a California smash straight at the Nomu and makes him flying out of the building. "Kurogiri!" yelled Shigaraki. Kurogiri and Shigaraki will be teleported away. Everyone will go outside, and Bikugo grabs Izuku to a wall and asks how he has a quirk. "I'll tell you later, Kakin, okay," said Izuku.
Later, Izuku continues to tell
to Bikugo about the Omnitrix and how it attaches to him. The next day of Uaparata, Aizawa tells everyone about the sports festival. Jiro asks if it's a good idea to do the sports festival since they just got attacked by the villains at the Ush. Later, "Don't get hurt, okay, Izuku?" Inko asked. "I promise," said Izuku. On the obstacle race, everyone starts running to the gate. Izuku tries to pick an alien, but Todoroki freezes the floor. Todoroki sees that most of them escape the attack. Izuku starts to pick an alien again, slamming on the Omnitrix, getting a mistransformation. Turning into Heat Blast, Izuku starts flying. Izuku and Todoroki would get all the way to the third obstacle part. Izuku, a couple of seconds behind Todoroki, transform into XLR8 and making it in first place with Shoto in second, Bakugo in third, Mudman making in fourth place, and etc. Midnight tells everyone about the cavalry battle and that Midoriya has the 10 million points. Everyone starts glaring at Midoriya. Midoriya's team would be slightly different. He would still have Akako and Tokoyami, but Hagakure would replace Hatsume's place on the team. Now, as you know, I'm not going to reveal what will happen in the actual cavalry battle, but I'm going to share my own version of the events. So, Minate's team replaces Shinso's team, and Tetsu would be the last person to participate in the 1v1 battles. In this version, the first match would be Midoriya versus Shuji. Midoriya would transform into a new alien, Terraspin, and then turn into a fan, blasting Shuji out of bounds. Midoriya would move on. Shuji says that's a new alien. Midoriya exclaims that it was his first time using him. Todoroki versus Zero would go out the same. Everything would go out the same except with Ida beating Hagakure very quickly. The lunch break would start, Shoto and Izuku being in the talking. Shoto tells Izuku to his strongest aliens on him with his ice. Izuku asks why he doesn't use his fire. Shoto tells him about the quirk arranged marriages. During their talking, Bikugo would be listening to them. The first match of the second round, Shoto Todoroki versus Izuku Midoriya. Before entering the stadium, Izuku talking to the Omnitrix saying, "Please Omnitrix, I don't want Cortex or Overdrive or Nanomech and not Ripzillo," as he begs and goes toward the stadium. Izuku starts getting nervous while facing Shoto as Izuku slams on the Omnitrix. Shoto shoots out an ice blast at Izuku, but he dodges the attack. Izuku taps on the Omnitrix and transforms into Jetre. Izuku starts flying and says, "Jetre, I guess this could work." Izuku, as Jetre starts flying dodging all of Shoto's ice, Izuku shouts out, "Todoroki, it's your quirk, not his." Shoto continues blasting out ice at Izuku, and he starts having flashbacks about his mom. Izuku presses on the Omnitrix and transforms into Wrecking Ball, which we know as Cannonbolt. Izuku continues to tell Shoto to use his flames, and Shoto starts using his flames. Izuku turns into a Wrecking Ball and crashing towards him. Cementos starts covering the battlefield with his cement, and all of the rubble Shoto would be knocked out, and a bunch of goop is all over the floor. The goop would form into a body and turning into Izuku. Midnight announces that Izuku Midoriya moves on. Izuku goes to Shoto and asks if he's alright. Shoto responds with a, "Yeah, I'm alright." The second match starts with Hononuki Juza versus Tenya Ida. The match will end quickly with Juza making Tenya legs sink into the ground and Hononuki will move on. Mina versus Tokoyami. Tokoyami would win just like in Canon by pushing her into out of bounds. Before Kirishima and Bakugo start fighting, Akiko asks Izuku if he gave any of his aliens names and Izuku says no. Hagakure states that he should. It would be easier to know what you transform into. Izuku says, "Maybe you're right, Hagakure. I have a notebook of all 40 of my transformations." Showing the two girls, Mina and Oyiro would also join in. Meanwhile, Kirishima versus Bakugo. The battle would go the same. The semi-finals start off with Izuku Midoriya versus Hononuki Juza. The two would enter the stadium and Tetsutisu and Yosetsu Aways cheering for Juza. Monoma tells Class 1A that if Juza beats Broccoli Boy over there, then Class 1B is stronger than Class 1A. And as he says that, Kendo knocks Monoma and says that she's sorry about that. Juza would touch the ground, sinking Izuku. Izuku's feet would be sinking inside of the ground. He'd slam on the Omnitrix, turning into Big Chill and going through the ground and reappear. Mina asks, "Hagakure, did you find what alien Midoriya turned into?"
Hagakure says, "Found it."
It has this alien can shoot out ice and can go through stuff. Wait, there's also a number beside the drawing. The number is shown being number 16. Akiko says, Izuku probably put that there so he knows which one it is. But who should we name it? Probably Flash Freeze, said Hagakure, and as she says that Izuku uses his ice and freezing Juza's legs and Izuku would be announced as the winner. Monoma gets mad at this and says that the only reason Juza lose is cause Broccoli Boy probably cheated. Izuku would appear in front of Monoma and says, "I heard that, copycat." Bakugo versus Toko.
Yao Yorazu, Bakugo.
It's just like in Canon.